Hello everyone. Welcome back to my shop. I want to give a little shout out to Mike at Desert Rat 2000 for the neat sticker he sent me. Mike, hey buddy, how you doing? All right, this is going to be a quick short on something that I found with one of my brother's vehicles. So I'm going to bring you over here and show you a big problem we've had. All right, before I bring you over there, I'm going to set it up a little bit. About 2 weeks ago, my youngest brother called me and said, hey, I've got a problem. He's got a 2003 Jeep Grand Cherokee. He uses that for his work. And he said, hey, when I'm sitting here at red lights or idling at a stop sign, my oil pressure drops to 0 and I get this warning light that comes on. He says, I give it some gas and it goes away. What's up with that? I said, well, let me see. Bring that thing on over. I said, number one, don't idle it. I mean, if the oil pressure picks up if you give it gas, put it neutral, and while you're sitting anywhere idling, give it enough gas to where you get some oil pressure. I said, you run that thing too long with that oil pressure, you're going to damage that engine. He said, all right. So later that night, he brung it by the house, and I said, well, let's start with the simple stuff first. What kind of oil you running? He said, oh, I've been running 10W30 synthetic. I said, this is an older car. It's got a lot of miles on it. And, well, that's just really too thin. I said, I'll tell you what, let's put some 15W40 in it, some good Rotella that I have. I said, let's try that and see what it does for you. So he drains his old oil, and I'm watching as he drains it, and that oil is as black as tar, and it looks like water is running so thin. But the sniff test, there was no antifreeze and there was no gas in it, so that's a good thing. But it was really thin, I mean extremely thin. So we put that 1540 in it, and he took off, came back, said, hey, it seems to be doing all right. I said, well, try that and let's see, maybe it was just the oil. So he goes to work the next day, calls me that night, hey, on my way home from work, started it again, no oil pressure. I said, well, that doesn't sound good. I mean, the car doesn't smoke, okay, and but it does have some oil leaks. But it doesn't smoke, which is kind of a key, and it don't make any sounds. I said, I'll tell you what, it could be the oil pressure sender, or it could be worse. I said, let's isolate all the easy stuff first. So bring it on by tonight, and we'll do some more tests on it. All right. All right, so he brings it on by the next night, and unbeknownst to me at the time, he had already picked up an oil pressure sender. He decided he was going to go ahead and that was the problem before testing. So he gets here, and I said, I tell you what, let's put an oil pressure gauge. Let's put one of my test gauge on it, and we'll see if what it says. He says, well, if you think it's oil pressure sender, we'll put the new one on. I said, well, no, let's test first. So we put the new oil pressure gauge to it, and sure enough, no oil pressure at idle. So I said, look, you spent about $20 on a sender you don't need. He says, well, that's an old one. I'm going to go ahead and put it in anyway. I said, well, that's still not going to fix the problem. I said, well, let's think this over. You don't have any knocking or anything. It doesn't smoke. Thicker oil seems to have worked for a day before it started failing. I said, when's the last time you changed the oil and filter? And, well, Paul Harvey and the rest of the story, you remember that? Well, he's had this car probably, I'm going to guess, 10,000 miles. And he's never changed the oil in it, ever. Aww. And he says because of the oil leaks and that he continually was putting oil in it, he figures he was having good oil anyway. I said, but that don't do nothing about the filter. He said, well, you know, I don't know. I said, well, I'll tell you what. We're going to go ahead and get a Wix filter for that thing, and we'll put that on and see what it does. So we hop my truck, run down, and we get us a Wix filter, put it on there, and top it off with 1540, and he drives off. I don't hear from him for a day. So I call him, hey, how's it going? Hey, it's doing great. I said, no problems? No, and I've made more trips and everything, and I've been at red lights. I said, okay, well, let's just let me know if it fails. So it's been 2 weeks now, no more problems. So it looks like it was the oil filter. And here's the culprit. All right, so I cut the thing open just to see what we got. And it had this seal on it. And I had to kind of cut this out. And let me tell you, this oil filter is in terrible shape. Terrible. Look at that. I mean, I don't know how many miles was on it, but it's just looks like it's clogged. But the thing that really troubles me more is it does look like it has the pressure relief valve here. See, there's a spring and everything. And apparently, this thing was failing because it wasn't bypassing the oil at all. So, anyway, it's a, what is that there? It's a Fram FD16, and it looks like it's some Fram drive. It looks like it's some cheap, I mean, Fram, you know, had a bad reputation at one time, and they seemed to cleaned it up. But this looks like a cheap Chinese knockoff or something. I mean, I guess they could even make them in China anymore. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, this thing did not bypass enough oil at idle. That's the spring in order to get oil to it. So this failed. All right. So the moral of the story, of the rest of the story, is if you experience a similar problem, in other words, no oil pressure at idle, don't be jumping to thinking you need an engine rebuild first. I mean, isolate, go through all the easy steps before you even drop an oil pan. I mean, because 9 times, well, I'm not going to say that. There's a good possibility that it's going to be something minor, like an oil filter, like the oil is not thick enough, or even the sender has gone out. And I've experienced all 3 of those. So anyway, thought I'd just add this on as one of those little shorts as a reminder to do the easy stuff first and don't go deep until you hit 4th down. All right, have a good one, and I hope to see you around on the next regularly scheduled video. See ya.